Hey everybody. So, as you can see, there are two Mercedes here, but the one I want to encompass today is my 1977 Mercedes 240D. Now, this is a diesel, the world-renowned diesel, and it's been a love of mine. It is also the slowest vehicle I've ever owned. And I don't really mean that in a negative way because it makes up for it in so many other parts. However, I just wanted to shoot a basic video of what this car is about and why I love it. Vintage styling is obviously the aesthetic of it. As you can see, round headlights, big grille. It's kind of like the Mercedes trademark. The interior is one of my favorite parts. This is all original. It's a caramel, brown on caramel, which is kind of a rare color. And as you can see, it's in pretty nice shape for being, gosh, how many years now? 40 some years old. I think I have 184 miles on the dot. So people ask me why a diesel, and I don't have a great answer to that. I was picked up from the hospital when I was born in my father's 1981 300D. And so I've always had kind of a love for these cars. Now, I'm gonna pop this hood real quick. His was a 5-cylinder. This is a 240. This is a 4-cylinder. And it makes an astonishing 71 horsepower at the crank. Yeah, I'm not kidding, 71 horsepower. And some days it acts like 71 horsepower, but honestly, for being the numbers that it produces, it's pretty impressive. I mean, I'll cruise at, 75, 80 miles an hour all day long. I also will do 50 miles an hour over hills, and when it comes to mountain passes, I do literally 35 miles an hour. I'm at high altitude. I'm at like 5,700 feet, 6,000 feet, so, it's not going to win speed contests by any means, but it makes up for it in reliability. These things go for 300,000, 400,000 miles without really having to do any major work to them. And that is a testament of the reliability. Is I've had this for almost a year and I've done not a lot of work to it in general. The story behind this one is it was found in a field. I found it in a person's backyard. There was an estate sale, and so I got it for pretty cheap, towed it home, and I had to put a new fuel tank on it because it sat for 20 some years. But it is, besides this, the basic, getting to cleaning things out, that much needed cleaning, new glow plugs, cleaning the injectors, new fuel tank. It's been remarkable. Starts right up, all the gauges work. I mean, heck, even the air conditioning still works. Heater works amazing. It's got power windows, which that's pretty amazing. My 68's got power windows too. So but let's go take it for a drive, and people can see what 71 horsepower is like. On the very distinct sound that these Mercedes diesels have is the glorious clankety clank. Very simple engine design. What's crazy is this motor actually was originally designed for a water irrigation pump. And then Mercedes like, we think we're going to stick this in a car. And funny enough, they did do that. So let's go for a drive and show you what it's like to drive a Mercedes 240D and watch the blistering acceleration of this fine machine. Now, one asked why I like these. Okay, I would say the biggest reason why I like the 240 diesels, even the 300, the diesel lineup in general, is it was an era when Mercedes built cars to run forever. today's cars, unfortunately, are built with the emphasis that we want you to come back in 5 years for some major repairs. And that's not the case with these cars back then. They built them to say, we want this thing to go across Saudi Arabia with 4 guys, and they have to do nothing but fill it with fuel. And that is the case. I've literally, after I got the cobwebs blown out of it and fixed basic maintenance stuff, I've done nothing to this vehicle. In fact, it's been one of the most reliable machines that I have owned, besides my 108, which Craig is right back there driving that. And whoa, what do we got going here? We got, looks like the Goon Squad. What are we gonna do about this? But yeah, the reliability with these is unreal. In fact, they run and run and run, and I would trust to drive this thing across America tomorrow. And that's what I love about them, is they're just overly engineered. They're just tanks. Another part I love about them is they're cheap to maintain and drive. You can work on them yourself. You can do just the valves yourself. You can replace the glow plugs. Oil changes are absolute cake. Like, everything about them. The biggest part that attracts to me the most about this car is today's cars, they have so many buttons, touch screen, Bluetooth, and it's almost like overloads the senses. This car literally has a button for your lights, a button for your blower for your air conditioning and that, and your window button. There's nothing. Heck, there's not even a stereo. Yes, they came with a stereo from the factory, but somebody at some given point decided to remove the stereo, and I like that. The seats, tons of room, leg room. I mean, this is like the ultimate road trip car, and that's what I love about it, is the comfort is there. Like, the ride quality, it takes bumps, it's smooth, the steering wheel doesn't drift. It feels like you're driving a cloud. Does it handle well? Heck yeah, it does. I mean, of course, new cars handle much better, but there's just something gratifying about driving a 240D. And I'm talking way too much why I love this car, but let's just, we'll cruise it. Now, a trick about the Mercedes diesels is you have to floor it and push down one click to downshift a gear. And that's with all these vintage diesels, and including the old gasoline cars. But, I mean, once again, I'm at high altitude, it's a naturally aspirated motor, and you can see the speedometer is climbing just fine. Doing 45, cruising 50, I'm at a quarter throttle, and it's running like an absolute dream. If anybody's wondering, oh, do I want to go for the 300 or do I want to go for the 240? There's pros and cons to everything. Of course, the 300 diesel will have way more power. It's a turbo diesel, you know, there's a lot of amenities. There's also more things to go wrong. I shouldn't really say that because I think they're just as reliable. I think the quirkiness of the 240 is appealing to me, and you never see them. You always see more 300s, which even those are rare in today's form, but a bone stock 240 is just going to run and run and run. And, you know, would I choose a 300D over this? I'm 50-50. I don't know really what I would choose, because this works for me. I want something that's reliable, that gets me from point A to point B. It's comfortable, and this is the car that does just that job. All right, we're about to get on the highway on-ramp here, and when I say blistering acceleration, you will soon find that I am being sarcastic. This is a momentum car, so if you're doing 70 and you have to slow down abruptly, you got to find a way to gain that momentum back up. And right now I am floored, as you can see, going uphill, but that's okay. And we've hit 40. But, you know, that's an uphill. So obviously we're starting to go downhill, and I just put it into drive, went into the overdrive gear. Now we're doing 50, 55, almost there. I mean, literally these drive so nice on the highway. That's one of my favorite parts about this car, is hands-free. Just drives like an absolute dream. There's no wobbles, it's straight, it's solid. It feels like it could cruise at 80 miles an hour all day long. And this is why I love the 240D. It is the slowest yet most enjoyable car to own, and it also will hands down be the most reliable car. And I advise anybody that's thinking of one, just go and drive it and enjoy it and keep them on the road, because they're getting less and less to be found, and I think they're the most gratifying ride for 71 horsepower, and they're cheap. I mean, I picked this car up for 700 bucks. And there's Craig, just cruising. He's cruising my 68 108. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye.